Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, coming to you 6 days a week as we interview whitetail experts and hear their traditions and personal stories of the hunt. Learn more about the latest gear, discover proven tips, and the latest strategies so you can make your next hunt a success. Now here's your host, Bruce Hutcheon.
Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. We're heading out to Oregon today, and we're going to talk to Britne Prosser. And Brittany's a new hunter, but she's not new to the outdoors. She loves hiking, and plus she on Facebook has a fitness page, Be Forward Fitness. So, Brittany, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on.
Well, I'm excited, and we connected on social media, on Instagram, to the fact, and I said, man, that's an interesting lady who's just started out hunting, be your third season coming up. And I wanted you today just to share, starting off here, how you got into hunting.
Well, I've always really been into the outdoors. I've always been hiking, camping, doing solo hiking and camping. And I started following, actually, it was probably Cameron Hanes that really kind of sparked it. I started reading some Stephen Ranella books and some other hunting books and things like that. And since I'm really into the outdoors and hiking, it just kind of felt like a good fit to try and start learning how to hunt. And I wasn't really sure where to go from there. I'd read multiple books throughout one of the summers, and I went to go help one of my cousins clean his house, and I overheard him saying that him and his dad were going to go hunting. And I said, oh, can I go with you? Can I go with you? Like, I don't care if I have a tag or anything. I just want to go for the experience. You know, I've been reading all about this stuff, and I just really want to get into it. So I tagged along, and really where it started, I just fell in love with it.
So what kind of hunt was your first hunt?
It was elk. You see, my cousin pulled a cow tag, so we were hunting for cow.
And Eastern Washington, or where were you hunting?
Oh, Eastern Oregon.
Okay. And
Yeah.
Is that mountainous? Is that prairie? Is that combination?
Definitely mountainous, for sure. It's really beautiful out there, too.
So you had to learn how to crawl over blowdowns then?
Well, there's a couple spots that we go to that aren't super difficult to get to, I guess. But there's a couple of other spots that we go check out that are pretty difficult to get to, I guess.
Well, one thing, and I noticed on your Facebook page that you're into fitness.
Mm-hmm.
How did that help you become a better hunter?
Oh, wow. Yeah. I went through and got my personal trainer certification. It was right after I had my youngest son. And I've always been into health and fitness. It kind of goes hand in hand with the outdoors. I kind of feel like I just enjoy being active, and it has helped me a lot in my hunting. It really has. Learning your body and working up that cardio, especially up on the mountain, is pretty important.
Definitely cardio and hydration. Somebody asked me how I still get up and down the mountain. Cardio, I do practice yoga, and I do walk daily, and I get into the gym. I don't lift so much anymore, but it's the cardio and the hydration that are my secrets, plus the mental attitude. And we'll get to that part later in the show. So here you are. Never hunted before, did a tag along. What are some of the things you learned just by tagging along with your relatives?
That it's a lot harder than what the books talk about. Definitely that mentality, just getting out there and getting up onto the mountain before the sun rises and then heading out and being as quiet as possible. It's amazing, though. I really, really enjoy it.
So amazing. Okay, let's unpack that and sit around the campfire and talk amazing. Here's a mother, 5, an athlete in her own right, and now we're talking about it's amazing. Explain that to somebody who doesn't know what amazing is or has never been in the wilderness, experiencing what you experienced.
So kind of backtracking a little bit, when I was going solo hiking on my own and just getting out there. As a female, it's a little bit more difficult in some sense, and you get looked at a little different. But the experiences that I had going solo hiking or camping, as much connection as I have to the wilderness in that sense, it was a totally different experience going hunting and experiencing it, the outdoors on a completely different level. The feeling is really indescribable. I can't really, you have to actually be a hunter to experience that. It's something that I can't really explain to other people unless they've kind of done it themselves. Like I said, it's amazing. I don't know how else to explain it.
In your bio, you said you got connected with your primal self.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
Yes. It's very raw because you're in the mental state of like, you're not just out there to go check out the birds or walk around and make a noise. You're there to actually, I don't want to say make a kill, but you're there to take a life or to feed your family. So it's a completely different mental state that you're in. Like I said in my bio, that it's very raw feeling. Like, this is what I'm meant to do. This is what I'm supposed to be doing to provide for my family. Or, like I said, it's such a raw feeling. I don't know how else to explain it.
Want to become a smarter deer hunter? Know when to hunt, where to hunt, how to hunt? Well, Deer Hunting Institute Part 1 was created to do exactly that, because many people have told me they struggle with spending all days in the wood and never seeing a deer, only shooting does and young deer, leaving the woods empty-handed way too many times. Found this wonderful, but just couldn't get on them, having difficult finding a place to hunt, recognizing possible mistakes you're making every year, having tried and failed to find qualified mentors who deliver results. If you had these frustrations or struggles, go to deerhuntinginstitute.com, and there you'll find a 13-module course to help you solve these problems. Again, go to deerhuntinginstitute.com and find some answers.
Being a hunter myself, way over 50 years, the experience is that you're a predator and then you have prey. And yes, you're going to harvest, you're going to kill an animal and take its life with integrity and reverence and as ethically as you can.
Yeah.
But that life that you take is going to sustain your life because, like you said in your bio, you know where your food comes from. And there's a big push in the world today. People want to know where their food's coming from, not just going to the store, buying something, some protein wrapped in a plastic container, and they go, okay, this is meat. Well, a lot of people want to know, okay, no growth hormones and everything else you can think of. And a lot of people are just saying, no, I'm going to be a hunter-gatherer. No, some people don't like hunting because they've never been hunting and they don't care where the fruit comes from. Other people do care, and I know a couple of vegans that became hunters just because they had some health issues and they needed more protein in their life, and so they became a hunter because they wanted to control the whole process. 1, the harvest, 2, processing, and 3, then the culinary delights of sharing meat with your family and friends. I mean, that's what we've been doing for thousands years. And society is way beyond that because it's say, well, it's not necessary. Well, society today, a portion of society that are pro or con hunting, they're pro feeding their families. And you see a lot of people off the grid. They have cows and chickens and pigs and goats and sheep and everything. And they're actually eating those animals. Those animals are sustaining them. And so as hunters, all we're doing is buying a tag, becoming conservationists, and then going out and feeding our family. But the interesting thing is, and Steve Rinella writes fantastically, he's a great author, folks, and if you haven't read any of his books, start off with In Search of the American Icon, the American Buffalo, or Bison. But anyway, read about that, and read about the history of being hunters and gatherers, and how the buffalo played a huge part in that factor for the Native Americans and the people that lived during that time. And now, as a hunter, you have just stepped into that realm. And like you said, it's just amazing. It's raw. It's in your face. If I do this we eat. And the Inuits, elders that I've sat with and listened to, they said for thousands of years, our people, if the caribou come, we live. If they don't come, we die. Pretty simple.
Yes.
Your thoughts?
Yes, I absolutely agree with that. And I did read that book, by the way, The American Buffalo. And I got to see Stephen Ranella live. He did like a live podcast in Portland recently. And that was one of my Christmas gifts I asked for. But yeah, it's definitely very, very raw, very primal. And there's nothing else like it. And I do feel like I'm also Native American. So I kind of feel like it's a part of not just who I am, but like my culture, what I'm meant to be doing. This is something that we've been doing, like you said, for years.
It's so nice to hear a young woman, a mother, a person that can do basically whatever she wants to do and embracing the world of hunting for her family's sake. And that's one reason I wanted to have you on the show, because a lot of people need to hear that and to say, no, it isn't strange. It's actually a very normal thing for people to want to know where the food comes from and to get skilled. Now, who taught you how to shoot, or the bow or the rifle?
I've grown up around guns and things like that when I was younger. We used to go shooting a lot. So I feel really comfortable with a rifle in my hand. I feel like I'm a pretty good shot. I still need to practice, obviously, but I get a little rusty if I don't practice. As for shooting bow, I still try and shoot bow. I don't have my own, but there is a bow shop in Kaiser that you can actually rent the bow. And I think it's like $15 for however long you want to go during the whole day. They help you dial in the bow, and you just get to shoot for however long you want.
A couple let you rent a bow. Have you hunted with the bow yet, or are you still working on that?
I'm still working on that. It mostly comes down to having enough money to buy a bow. So yeah, I definitely want to start bow hunting. Looks like a really good challenge. A couple people I follow that bow hunt. Sam does the Living in the Country podcast. He bow hunts.
Sam Ayers. Yeah. He's in Montana.
Yeah.
Good luck, Sam. Hope you get an elk. He's an amazing guy.
Yeah.
There's somebody from Hollywood, country in the city, and he lived right in Hollywood, worked for Hollywood company, blah, 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 and fell in love with him.
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine, and I appreciate what he does and stuff, and especially for new hunters and things like that with his podcast, and just getting out there and doing it all himself is pretty cool.
Yeah, you need to get on a show. Have you been on a show?
No, not yet.
Well, you gotta, after this, you gotta say, hey, Sam, I'm ready. I was on Whitetail Rendezvous, and Bruce said I definitely have to be a guest.
Right, I will.
Okay, you promise.
Yeah.
I'll hold you to it.
Okay.
Do you want to become a smarter whitetail hunter, knowing when to hunt, where to hunt, how to hunt? Over the past 4 years, people have asked me, hey, I'm struggling with spending all day in the woods and never seeing a deer, only getting opportunities at doe or young bucks, leaving the woods empty-handed too many seasons. Located the deer of a lifetime, but just flat out missed. Having difficulties finding a place to hunt, recognizing mistakes that you're making over and over again, and you want to eliminate them. Having tried and failed to find qualified mentors. Well, you've come to the right place. Why? Because Deer Hunting Institute Part 1 was created by me, Bruce Hutcheon. It's a 13-module course that'll talk about being lost in the deer hunting forest. Never hunted. What is a hunter? What is an adult onset hunter? What rules apply? Finding a mentor, choosing a weapon, finding a place to hunt, scouting a hunt location, stand sites, stand access and exit, reading sign, and when to hunt. All these are available for you at deerhuntinginstitute.com. Go now to deerhuntinginstitute.com and sign up for the best deer hunting course in America.
You know how to shoot a rifle. What kind of rifle do you use? Caliber?
It's been a little while since I've actually shot it, so it's new to me. I didn't get to use it last year. It was gifted to me like years ago, but the Winchester
243 or 30-06 or 208?
Maybe it's a 208. I can't remember what the caliber is for that one.
Okay. Is it in your, do you own it or does somebody just lend it?
No, I own it. Yeah. It's just, I haven't got to use it. And so it's been kind of on the back burner.
Okay. Now, are you going to go elk hunting this fall?
Yes. We pulled another cow tag this year. So
you have a cow tag, right?
Yes.
Well, you better get shooting. You better get to the range and put some bullet down range, girl.
I know. I do. I need to go practice soon.
Well, at least put some punch and paper.
Right. Yes.
Over 3 years, have you been close to getting a cow or a bull?
This last season, yes, I was close. So close, it was kind of like frustrating. It was my first kind of close encounter / almost there. My cousin that I go with, he was making sure that I was leading. So that way I can get the first view, or if, any cows come across our way, at least I'm up front so I can see what's going on and I can get the shot myself. And we were walking through this kind of tall, dry, really loud grass. And as I'm looking down at my feet to make sure I'm being really quiet, I feel my cousin behind me stop. And I slowly turn and I see he has his rifle drawn off to the right in between the trees. And I look, but I can't see what he's shooting at. He stopped in the perfect spot where he had a window to shoot through. So I couldn't see what he was seeing. But then he shot it and he's like, "Oh, I got the cow. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I missed it." Like, I looked down right as I walked past that little window. I mean, I'm glad he got it, but I was a little flustered with myself. But it was definitely a good learning experience. And we went and followed the blood trail. And as we were trying to find the blood trail, there was a big bear that ran up over the hill because we scared it, I guess. It was pretty intense.
Instead of looking at the ground, you need to be looking for elk parts.
Yes. I was so worried about being too loud.
Well, I was going to say, elk don't stand there and say, "Here I am, I'm an elk, shoot me." You just see parts. You see a flick of a ear. You see a head move, their white rump. You see horizontal shapes in a vertical world. That's one thing I learned early on. You look for horizontal shapes in a vertical world, and yes, you'll see a lot of logs. But every once in a while, that log will turn into an elk or a deer or a bear. It's interesting. The one key I would share with you, you have to tune your eyes to what an elk looks like, not field, but what they look like in the wood, because they're there and they're watching you. I would say over the 3 years, you probably won't pass, literally within 100 yards. They'll be feet from you and they won't move and you won't see them. Hunting is very interesting and you'll never know everything, even the Steve Brunellos of the world. So every outing is an experience. Every outing, they learn something. And sometimes you're fortunate enough to harvest, to put an elk down, a moose down, or a deer down, or whatever, and you get it, and then the work begins. Now, tell me, how prepared are you for taking care of an elk once you get it?
Oh, that part doesn't gross me out or anything. The harvest afterwards. It's really intriguing to kind of how the animal is made, I guess, and what parts you can take and what parts you need to leave, or how you actually cut into it and make sure you don't stab the stomach open or anything. Or it's pretty interesting stuff. I didn't realize how heavy they were even after you take the parts out. They're still really heavy animals. Trying to carry it up a hill or drag it somehow or just any way possible. This last season, when we got the cow, we didn't have packs or anything like that, so we couldn't really quarter it up and take it out or anything. We forgot some of the bags, the meat bags and stuff. Yeah, we had to drag it up this really steep hill. And that was probably the biggest workout of my life. But it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed going hunting.
Parts are simpler than the whole elk, and fortunately, as a move elk, I've never drug an elk out. Plenty of whitetails, but never an elk, because I just get it where I can take parts apart and just get them in game bags. And now I use a sled. I have a sled, and they do have those plastic sleds work, and all you do is strap it in there. And so you can get just go to eBay and say, hey, I need a game sled. Well, it's the same sled that your kids would use riding in. It's a plastic toboggan and has ropes and everything. And that could make it a lot easier for you. Once you break it down, put it in parts, then you say, okay, this is 50 pounds of meat, and then you can haul that up the hill a heck of a lot harder than dragging it out. So think about that. Just go on eBay, look for plastic toboggan, spend $30 or whatever they are, and it'll make life a lot easier.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Make life a lot easier.
Hey, thanks for listening to the show tonight. Before we go, can I take a moment and say thank you? Listen, as we started the Whitetail Rendezvous podcast journey, we had no idea what to expect. But after 4 years, we received a ton of feedback from our over 400,000 listeners and climbing to 500,000. Speaking of which, we are now closing in on over 600 featured guests. Thank you. And a quick shout out to all those who have left an iTunes review and your feedback. I get those and really appreciate it. And it's awesome to see what you have to say, and we do read every single one of them. And I just want you to know that I am incredibly grateful for your kind words regarding the show. And all of the ratings and reviews help us attract more listeners. And if you're one of those new listeners, welcome. Great to have you. By the way, if you haven't taken the time to rate and review our show and like the Hunting on Private Land strategy on how to get permission to hunt a private property, go to whitetailrendezvous.com as a special gift for just rating and reviewing our show. When you get there, look for the start button to get the details. Listen, I'll share you the top technique from some of the top hunters in the country on how do they get permission to hunt on private land. I'll share with you the exact techniques they use to get permission. As my way of saying thanks for rating and reviewing the show on iTunes. So join us next time. And remember, we're all on this journey together, learning, sharing, and becoming 365 hunters.
Tell me about your philosophy and how you balance everything that you're doing. You're a working mom with your fitness program. What other things do you work at?
You mean like what other jobs I might have?
Yeah. How you pay the bill?
Any way I can. My boyfriend, he does a lot of work as well, so he goes to work for plenty of hours during the week. So I've been lucky enough to be a stay-at-home mom for a couple years. I've been trying to do stuff out of the home, or like the fitness business that I started. And I still wanted to stick with fitness. I feel like that's something that I'm passionate about, that I'm motivated with. So I started working for the Courthouse Fitness. They have quite a few locations locally here. And right now I'm just working in the daycare because I get to take them with me, which is pretty convenient. But I'm also training to get my certification to be a class instructor. So I'm going through them, doing a program. That's what I do.
So let's talk about my audience and the ladies. About 30% of the listeners are women. And what are the tips that you would give them just being a new hunter? What are some of the things that you'd say, hey, you need to pay attention to this, you need to have this type of gear, whatever you want to share? It's
pretty simple. Just start. Like, don't worry about gear. I mean, now I'm starting to learn more about gear and things like that, but if it's something that you really, really want to try out or get into, just start. Don't worry about how expensive gear is or how you're going to find a babysitter. Even if you go for a couple of days, it doesn't have to be an entire week, and you can find local spots to go. I know it's a little bit more difficult if you don't have guys in your life that go hunting or, know of good spots, but like Instagram's been a really good connection for me, meeting people with the same mindsets, and there's a lot more female hunters out there now too. So if you don't feel comfortable talking to another guy about hunting, then there's definitely some other females, like Jessica.
Byers from Follow Her Arrow?
Yeah. She is amazing to follow. She's so down to earth and she's super knowledgeable. I mean, she might not always get back to you on messages and stuff, but she talks to anybody and everybody. So, I mean, she's definitely one to probably hit up or follow or things like that. She's amazing.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Now, are you camping out or are you doing day hunts? So tell me how you set up your camp.
Well, we've done it a little different every year. And this year I told my cousin that I want to start like glassing mountains more instead of going back to the base, I guess, and eating lunch. I'd rather eat lunch out on the mountain and just try and stay out there as long as possible throughout the day. My uncle lives probably like about 20 minutes from the different locations on the mountain that we go to. So we always just end up going back to his place in the middle of the day. We'll do like a morning hunt super early, get up there before the sun rises, and then start walking when we actually see the sun peek out. And then we come back for like a lunchtime, and then we go back out for an early evening hunt.
You don't look for wallows or you don't hunt close to the bedding areas?
There's one bedding area, but I think it was last season we couldn't do that area because I guess there was some logging or something like that last minute right before hunting season started. So we had to kind of go into a couple spots blind and just kind of hope for the best.
So we've got a mother of 5 fitting hunting in as best you can. Changed your life though, hasn't it?
Big time. Absolutely. And for the better.
Now that's interesting. Amazing what's interesting, for the better. How has it made you a better person?
Not necessarily makes me a better person. Makes my life feel, I know I have 5 kids and that's going to fulfill my life perfectly. But hunting just adds something to my life that, like I said before, it's just indescribable. It's something that I feel is a part of me that is who I am. And being able to find that, I guess, this early in life, I'm still fairly young, I suppose. It's a wonderful feeling.
Well, you're a wonderful human being, and I look forward to meeting someplace, sometime, and shaking your hand because, I welcome you to the hunting fraternity, to the campfire that we all share, and we share it on common ground. So I just want to say welcome, keep it up, and keep learning, because I'll be elk hunting in a couple of weeks here in Colorado, and I'll learn something new every time I go out.
I can't wait to start hunting in other states, too. That's another goal of mine.
Good. Well, get your bucket list going and reach out. There's a huge sisterhood out there of women that would certainly come alongside you and help you become a better hunter. And you never know. You might get invited to go to Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, Nevada, Utah. That would be. Or maybe just another lady say, heck, I'd love to have you in camp. So right there in Oregon. So I just wish you well, Brittany, and thank you so much for being a guest on Whitetail Rendezvous.
Thank you so much, Bruce. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.